Hey, Crystal, how are you?
Hello, hello. Excited to be here and discuss today's topic.
Yes, we're here on Friday, July 24th. Um, we are talking today about the big update that has hit the news in the last few days, which is that local services ads is going to be transitioning into Performance Max. So it's going to be transitioning into Google Ads. Just a quick overview. Google is making one of the biggest changes to LSA since it's launched. And beginning in August of 2026, Google is going to be migrating LSA into the Google Ads front end. So the way that you access local services ads is no longer going to be through the dashboard. It's going to be through normal Google Ads. The campaigns are technically going to be the same. It's still pay per lead, but there's going to be sort of a broader migration happening across 2027. So there's going to be a little bit of a time where there's a split between the two. We'll get into that. Home services, pet care, wellness, education verticals, mostly storefront businesses are going to be part of this first cohort, which they say is going to start in August. Then service area businesses and law is going to happen late 2026, 2027. Core product is supposed to say basically the same. Advertisers are going to pay for leads, not clicks. And it's going to show up very similar inside Google Maps, Google Search. And so we're basically just going to walk through like what we know right now. We have a lot more information now, but there's still a ton of stuff that we don't know. So yeah, Crystal, what's your ink blot reaction when you received this news?
I couldn't be more excited about this. My first thought was, it's about time, because LSA is part of the Google Ads department. And for the last little while, we've been working between two different dashboards, Google Ads dashboard and LSA's dashboard on its own. So it'll be nice to finally have that organized and the additional things that we could do with it now.
I've seen some talk about people saying that this is more like LSA graduating to Google Ads versus some sort of like, I don't know, like deeper, more nefarious thing Google is doing. Personally, I think that this is a positive change. Google Ads is Google's baby. It is the most important thing to Google. It generates all their money. So if LSA is coming closer to Google Ads, seems like that's a pretty good indication that LSA is safe, stable, and is going to grow Google's business long term. But yeah, what do you think?
Oh, I definitely agree. I know from some client conversations like probably about a year ago when LSA started making some changes that were a little uneasy. A lot of the talk or concern is LSA going away? So knowing now that it's moving into, Google's baby of Google Ads, it's just exciting.
Yeah, we started to see that. I can't remember when it was, maybe about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. The LSA website went away.
Yeah.
And it no longer lived at local services, .google.com. It was inside Google Business Profile.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that didn't really help people feeling like it was actually going to stay around. But yeah, I mean, LSA has been part of Google Ads, to your original point, for a long time, right? All billing, access and security, policy manager flags, how the websites get checked. That was all done through Google Ads. So yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit about what is changing. So from like the Search Engine Land article and from the Google Business Profile, some things that will be different, like reporting. And we can talk about all the historical reporting that's going to be gone from LSA. So we'll have everybody download all their historical reports. But profile and budget, verification, processing. What do you think is going to be the biggest difference and like most impactful change to anybody who's used to managing LSAs?
Most impactful change, I think, is for the longest time, Google Business Profile support team has always been, this is not our problem, go to Google Ads. Google Ads support team has said the same thing. This is not our problem, go to Google Business Support. So it has always been who's going to help with what, right? So especially when it comes to billing, that's where we would be stuck, just in like this bubble of no help with billing that I think is going to make a big difference now that we're part of Google Ads, and the system will start accepting our questions.
What is the relationship with Google Business Profile going to be now?
Good question. I think it's really going to evolve. As we've learned this past year, Google has kind of started to become, the LSA has become that it bridges the gap between Google Business Profile and Google Ads and kind of puts it together. So I think that that's going to help enhance the ad, where really it's just been let's connect the reviews kind of thing. How about you, Eric?
I mean, for the longest time, LSA and GBP were so similar. They overlapped so much. LSA used to have their own reviews. LSA, you could have a different business name on LSA than you had on Google Business Profile, and that would cause suspensions. You could have, address changes. So if LSA is that dashboard is gone, there can no longer be a discrepancy between what is on Google Business Profile and LSA. So any LSA related GBP suspension, that should theoretically go away. And so that's really interesting. You had to be very precise. You have, God forbid you ever wanted to make a change to your business name, or your business moved, addresses. It was a minefield trying to, you have to create a case on GBP and you got to let them know. And then you have to, wait for the change to happen. And then you reach out to LSA support, but don't wait too long, because if it notices a difference. So I think a lot of the sensitivities are going to go away, but yeah. And then GBP just being now the source of truth for business hours, name, address, and stuff, I think is sort of simplified the GBP is your business source of truth. Ads is for anything paid. So, anybody who wants to be on Google has to have GBP, and all that information is right. And then if you want anything paid, that's on the Google Ads side. So I think the distinction between the two is actually a little cleaner than it was before.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think that using the Google Business Profile name and the address and just going through that verification process through GBP support and how that just automatically updates on the LSA end is going to definitely relieve a lot of headaches. I know that with advanced verification, though, when you moved or a name changed, you have to re-verify everything through reapplying with that advanced verification application. It wasn't an easy process for locksmiths and garage doors. I think that's still going to be an issue, only because those two categories are just tough. But I think over time, the two departments might hopefully figure it out.
Yeah, we can only hope.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
As an agency manager, let's say you have a portfolio where you've got a third is home services, a third is service area based pet grooming, and then you've got law clients. And so you've got a third, let's say. There will be a time where there will be a split where we are ultimately trying to get to things being consolidated and all that, and we're going to be massively scattered. And so there's still going to be multiple dashboards for at least the next 6 months minimum. And so the way that you access client accounts and all that stuff, I think it's going to be extremely confusing. Have you thought about what this part is? I mean, by 2027, things should be great and consolidated, but in this in-between period, how do you think of that from an agency perspective?
I am excited about it because this is where I get to totally geek out, because we'll still have access to the old dashboard. We'll get to see the new things. And I love like analytics and patterns where it could help me see, okay, this is what changed here from the dashboard versus this is what's here now. And then helping with optimization on, moving in towards things to see what we can better enhance. This part, I am actually very excited about. It may be confusing for the client, but for us internally, like the scattered, unorganized mess, that's where Google kind of spills their secrets.
Yeah, in what way?
Well, just because you could see what Google's changed. Like, if it automatically changed to, please don't send this to Google, Eric, but if it automatically changed to like it was cold turkey and you went straight into the Google Ads dashboard, you forget things, right? But over time, as you have months, as we're internally watching this, and I say internally because nothing is changing on search, right? On your search results page, it's staying the same. So behind the scenes, all this stuff is happening, which is also my favorite thing. But as it changes over, and you're looking at the two different dashboards and what's happening in the Google Ads platform versus what's still in the LSA dashboard, that's where you get to see the differences. I don't know how else to explain it, but that part I'm just very excited about.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, LSA expertise is going to be in high demand because we're in this little period where the complexity is growing massively, and the best part of this, in my opinion, is that support is going to be easier to navigate because you're going to be pinging between fewer teams, like ultimately. But in this in-between period, that's what my biggest fear for advertisers is going to be, is support. Because, LSA support is already challenged when there's different teams that aren't really connected and talking to each other. And so now, how do you route to LSA support? LSA related issues will split between Google Ads and LSA. Before, if it was an LSA account, it did technically just go to LSA support. Now, LSA issues go to LSA support and Google Ads support. Curious your thoughts on that.
I think that'll kind of be the same for a couple of months, and then Google Ads will take over and say, this is what it is. This is what we're doing. I just think that's kind of how it'll work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, how would you prepare your clients? How would you prepare anybody who's thinking about getting into LSA right now? So we can start with that. So let's say either an individual or a massive multi-location franchise, they're thinking about starting LSA. Is now still a good time to do that? And then we'll talk about kind of how to prepare if you're already a part.
Absolutely. I think now is the time, if you haven't already gotten signed up, is the best time to sign up so that you can be part of that transition, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And let's say you're already on LSA. What would you say is the top 2, top 3 most important things that I should be doing now to make sure that I'm prepared for whenever this transition happens?
I would say make sure your Google Business Profile is up to date, but as a Google Business Profile product expert, I do not recommend that you go through and make a change on 20 different things within the last 15 minutes. That will suspend your account and cause more issues.
Yes.
I would say just really look at your information, make sure the name, the address, phone number details are correct, your NAP details. Those are the biggest things that cause re-verification, so please be careful with that. Don't just automatically update it. Do that research. And talk to us in the forums so that we can help answer your questions before that you make a change and then you're under verification and you have more issues. I would go through, I would look at each section of the Google Business Profile, make sure it's up to date. I would also go through and look at your LSA profile, see if there's anything that needs some updating there as well before you move into this migration, which everyone, like Google says they'll give a 14-day notification of when it's going to change. And is it actually 7 days and like 24 hours before that you get another email, Eric, of like the migration change happening?
Yeah, my guess is, yeah, you'll get the 14-day, you'll get a 7-day, and then you may get a 3-day or a 24-hour, you may get another one, and then there will be like ones that happen afterwards, just reminding you. So they'll send probably 5 or 6 sets of reminders, that's my guess.
Okay.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you?
GBP hygiene, that's what we've been saying this whole time anyway. A long time ago, Google said that all the information across all Google surfaces needs to match. So that's what we've been like hitting on this whole time anyway. The name on GBP needs to match LSA. Also, like other GBP hygiene things that like are still important. Check who has access to your GBP. It seems like such a basic check, but there's a lot of maybe like a past agency or anybody who should not like or doesn't currently have or need access to the GBP. I think the GBP hygiene check is really, really important. Another thing that we're going to be checking is reviews. Like we're already checking whether reviews come and go, but there was a big announcements on how reviews are going to be handled in 2026. And things like technicians being named inside of the reviews, and so I'm curious to see just what happens on that side as well. It's kind of throwing a lot of big changes in at once, but so GBP hygiene is more important than anything. The other thing, and this is more nitty gritty, but API, LSA API. I assume LSA API is going to be getting deprecated in favor of Google Ads. Yeah, do you foresee anything too drastic or any type of change happening, or will the Google Ads API be adding in like some of these LSA metrics?
Man, I hope so. I know there for a while the LSA API kind of just stopped working for, I want to say maybe 5 months. And then all of a sudden it came back. So I would still stay connected just to be nosy, but I would move over to like the Google Ads end. And applying for a Google Ads API connection takes a while. I almost think 3 months. So start looking into that if that's where you pull metrics from.
Yeah. That's all I got. I mean, that's really all that we know right now. We haven't seen too much more. And so maybe we could call this part 1 of a multi-part series. Like, as we learn more, it'll be cool to see what happens. Like, will there be any changes in performance? My guess is no, but there will be bugs. I mean, if the product is changing and there's new architecture, there's going to be new bugs. But something tells me that if it's inside of Google Ads, I think things are going to get solved more quickly. And I think LSA specific isolated issues are going to, obviously anything dashboard related, that's going to be gone. But to have all of the engineers, all of the product managers sort of not split between 2 platforms, that it's all focused in one, I think will ultimately be better. But yeah, I think this is going to be a positive change overall. But yeah, we'll be back to share anything new and to keep reporting back to see what people think about it as well.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add that we haven't talked about yet is that it's being rebranded or merging into the Performance Max ad. I find that Performance Max ad that it is currently now today the most fascinating, best kept secret. But with Performance Max, it's not a set it and forget it. And some people kind of have that same idea with LSA. You sign up, you set it, you forget it, you sign out, you move on and hope you get leads, or you don't understand why you're not getting leads. But with Performance Max, even like we had talked about earlier, being able to compare the difference where you still have access to the LSA dashboard, it's merging into Google Ads Performance Max. And if you have that knowledge of building Performance Max ads, then you get to compare these three things and what's different. A lot of people come back and say that Performance Max is the worst product that Google Ads could have created, right? But it's like I'm so nerdy with Performance Max because it's like your SEO website enhancer. And you get to add these keywords and all this fun stuff into it. But the more that you feed the system, you're training it, right? You're giving it your company culture. You're training it what your target audience is. That I haven't quite heard what Google, LSA, the ads department, what they're going to do with that part. If you do get to actually see keywords, or if you actually get to play with the keywords. I know negative keywords is something that they're like, no, absolutely not. You don't get to do that. But when you have these three platforms that they're merging together, Google Business Profile bridging the gap with Google Ads, LSA merging into Google Ads, but they're making the Performance Max ads better, enhancing it by bringing in everything that works great with LSA, bringing in everything that works great with Performance Max, and kind of getting rid of the stuff that didn't work. I am so excited to see how over time this evolves.
Yeah, I love that. And Performance Max already had ads that were showing up on maps. Those were the local search ads. So I guess, I'm curious, like, how different will LSA be? Or will it be a part of local search ads? My guess is that was a soft sort of LSA to Performance Max transition to showing ads inside of maps. Will the local search ads be going away in favor of local services ads? The key difference is that the local search ads would show inside maps, but they had PPC-like functions where it had website callouts. It did not have the LSA CTAs. So, I mean, my guess is they're going to be experimenting, that they may have 3 ads. One of them may be, or top 2 ads may be local services ads. The third one may be local search ads, and that they're just going to continue to test with it. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've always believed in Google's survey process. Like, you know how those surveys always pop up in the corner of your page, or even if you're on mobile and it's just like, how are we doing? Give us feedback. A lot of individuals have said that it doesn't go anywhere, but I truly believe when you complain or you're excited about something that has been changed, that there are individuals on the other side that actually read it and make a difference. So I would think throughout this process, if you have an opportunity, fill out that survey and give feedback on anything, everything, and also what you like.
I think that's great. That's definitely true. I mean, I'm sure they catch bugs like that faster because that's the quickest way that they can find it. They don't have somebody who's constantly logging on to search for things. That they do rely on that. One more thing that I was thinking about that I know is going to be popular, but how do we see this incorporating into the AI search component here? Performance Max is sort of AI search, but it's not AI search. I'm just curious. What do you think about that?
That's a great way to say it, because Performance Max moves at such a rapid pace because it is built and based off of AI. But you're right, it's not AI. It's not in the AI search. So, I can't wait to see that.
One of my conspiracies about how consumer behavior and how advertiser behavior works And I don't know how many gazillions of conversations I've had with people. I am not convinced that people care where their ads go. Facebook ads, display, YouTube. I honestly don't think anyone really cares. I think there are the nerds like us who really geek out on little tiny differences, but I think the vast majority of people have absolutely no care. If I told you that your entire audience consumed your content via display ads, well, then you wouldn't really have a preference about whether they should be on search or YouTube. You'd say, just show my ads where my audience is. And that's where I think all of this is ultimately going, that everything is folding underneath this sort of AI knows best. And, Google will ask you for whatever type of information. If they need to serve ads in a particular way, and somebody needs to be background checked in order for your ad to display in a particular way, then you're just going to go through whatever verification Google says. But ultimately, they're just going to put your ads, your content in front of the right people. And so, yeah, I mean, this move towards Performance Max and AI, I think it's just the logical conclusion. And I think we're sort of arguing and discussing about the edge cases and the way that it goes about it, but it is really all like a black hole. It is all sort of coming into this sort of ask one question, whether you've got a pipe that bursts. Like I just need the pipe fixed.
Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion on these 4 different plumbers. In fact, I'm not even a plumber. So what am I even comparing? Like, I'm comparing these 3 plumbers that all have 5,000 reviews. Anyway, that's my theory, is that people actually don't care where their ads go, that they just want them in front of people, which is sort of the thesis of Performance Max in some way.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I love that explanation. Yes.
Amazing. Any closing thoughts?
I
can't wait to revisit this.
I know, I can't. I was just going to say that. I can't wait for part 2, Eric.
Good. Crystal, great talking to you as always. Appreciate you doing this. I can't wait for part 2. And we'll talk very soon.
Bye.